Hey guys, this is Chris, and I'm going to be doing a different video than I've done before because this is kind of like shooting from the hip today, because I was going through a little bit of an existential crisis, but not of that magnitude. But I think that my issue and how I'm dealing with it and the way that I've kind of worked through it myself can help you if you follow the same steps, because I wrote it down and I'm a very practical individual. And as soon as I see a problem or have a problem, I kind of attack it, and well, not angrily, but I attack it in a good way. What's the solution? There's always a solution for this. So my issue is that, you know, since the last 10 years, I've been doing art every single day, and I plan on doing it for the rest of my life. Today is day 3,583, by the way. I'm close to 10 years exactly. But after 10 years of creating, you would think that all of my artwork would have this kind of cohesive subject to it, a cohesive body of work. But it's not. It has meandered all over the place. Here, I'll show you my website. So this is my paintings page. And as you can see, it starts from most recent at the top to older at the bottom, so newest to oldest. I'm doing this kind of landscape thing that's influenced by AI art, digital art, landscapes, and then a figure I did back in March, self-portrait of me, and then more figure stuff. I still love figures. Doing a lot of figure on gray. Some kind of abstract figure, a painting of my cat. These are posed white pieces of paper that I've painted. Another figure actually in, or friends, loved ones in a setting, some narrative there. Another self-portrait of me. Self-portrait figure, kind of all over the place. And then a lot of learning here on painting figures, figure on gray, New Masters Academy images, all just trying to render down, and then still life. And then that's where I end. That's 2015. Of course, there's hundreds of paintings between all of those. These are only the ones that I've really kept, but there's not really a cohesive idea. Like, you couldn't look at Chris Bevan's page and say, oh, he's the guy that does this thing, He has this style and this subject matter. And it's a bit disconcerting, to say the least, that after 10 years I really don't have that. And I feel like right now and recently I'm taking a stand, and I'm going to plan on going deep rather than wide. The idea of going deep on one thing rather than casting my net wide and trying to do everything, which is not working. If I go deep on something, I can take it further than I've ever done before and really feel the nuance and the idea of something. So the question is, what do I want to go deep on? What do I want to spend a long time on? I mean, I know it's art, right? I know the materials, and I actually know right now the subject matter I would like, figure and landscape, figure in a landscape with a narrative or story. But I need to narrow it down. And through that, I wanted to figure out really what I like to help me narrow things down, because when you've cast your net so wide for so long, you haven't really figured out what you really enjoy, what you could spend the rest of your life on. So let me show you the process. So this is part of my journal. So I'm sharing you my journal here. And today I wrote down that I have written down my purpose on my protocol, which I reference every single day. And that's to make art with a purpose. But my art really doesn't have much of a purpose right now other than the fact to create it. So I don't have that purpose right now. I do have subject matter, figure and landscape, specifically figure and landscape with a narrative. But maybe the next thing I need to look at is style. Maybe I need to identify with other pieces of artwork what I like about it and what I want in my artwork. And this is what I'm doing today. This is exactly what I did today. It took me about 2 or 3 hours to go through all this. style that I like. By style, I'm talking about how the artists treat the brushwork, lighting, composition, color, storytelling, the fundamentals of picture making. This is how they would treat it. But after going through like a ton of works, after going through a ton of paintings, I realized that I could quickly fill this page with thousands of artists. So I need to remove ability from the equation and just to assume that every artist that I like has an amazing ability, and every artist that I've actually chosen here is amazing. They have tremendous ability. But what I'm really interested in is, what do I love about their treatment of the fundamentals? What do I love about their treatment of fundamentals? And if I look at that, what does it say about my tastes? How does that give me a window into the idea of what I enjoy, right? And so this is what I did. I started going through my collections of artists on artsy.net and ArtStation. Those are the two places I really kind of collect and follow artists and collect imagery. I download a lot of images on my computer, but it's easier doing this way. And so we'll start with Jennifer Gennari. And by the way, I'm probably not going to be pronouncing all of these names really well. I'm sorry for my inability to do that. So Jennifer, I love her brushwork. I love the subject matter, especially in the painting above, but the brushwork is just absolutely amazing with her pet portraits or animal portraits. Oh, by the way, the one thing I would mention is this is something that you can do as well. Hopefully you're collecting art, and you have been collecting art for years. And you have a set of individuals that you follow either in books or online or downloaded pictures or a flat file, you know, whatever you have. And you can go through these artists and you could do as I did, and you could just point out exactly what you love about the work, about their body of work, their cohesive body of work. So for Jennifer, brushwork mainly, and the subject matter of this top painting. But mainly brushwork for her. Simple. That's what I love about her. Adrienne Stein, the rich colors, loose brushwork, simplicity of form, especially in her earlier works. Like this one is a very simple description of a form there. Rachel Bess, high contrast lighting is what I love. Karl Dobsky, I love the high contrast in his work, although some of his work is just full of a bunch of stuff. But I love the narrative. And then I go through ArtStation. There's a ton of things that I have, a ton of artists that I follow in ArtStation. So let's break it down to the essence of their work. So Xing Chen, high contrast lighting, and the ability for them to set a creepy mood. Having that ability to actually set a mood in a painting is really difficult. Slawek, I'm not going to say the last name. I love these high key paintings. That's one thing I've always had issues with, is these really high keys. It's absolutely amazing. Harry Erwan, the story of this person's latest works is amazing, and the high contrast I love. This person, I love the texture. A lot of times in digital work, you lose a lot of texture, but they have just this amazing texture in their work. Every single material has a distinct feel to it. You know, the softness of skin versus hair and steel, you could tell the difference between all of it. It's something you don't see in a lot of work, especially digital work, is that idea of texture. This artist here, high contrast again, rich colors, don't really like the dark subject matter, the dark narrative, but the fact that they have a narrative with their work is amazing. This artist, love the richness of color, again, the high contrast, and I love that this person has gone deep on a very specific subject. This girl floating around in the sky with clouds. How far can she take it, right? Or they take it. John Stone, love his work. I love how he simply breaks down each element into just simple shapes of color. and form. Yeah, just clarity of work. Oliver Ryan, I've starred him because, or I've starred Oliver because I love the strange narrative and the way this person paints, high contrast, the simplicity of brushwork. This body of work that they have really may fit the style that I love. I'm not going to copy from them directly, but I could probably pull a lot of notes from them. This person, the simplicity and design is just fantastic. This work, you could have any of these pieces on the wall next to 200, and these would stand out because of the simplicity and the impact of design from so far away. Vladimir, love this work from Vladimir. The ability to have just beautifully painted landscapes with figures, but also the ability to communicate quietness, this quiet narrative. Amazing. Samuel Smith. Now, this is a bit cartoony, but if there's any person that I want to look at for how to tell a story, it's Samuel Smith on ArtStation. Everything has a wonderful narrative to it. If I want to be able to tell a story, Sam, yeah, I'm going to learn from you, definitely. This person, I love again, the high contrast, the narrative. Don't prefer the subject matter, but it has a very creepy mood like Zine Chen does. But the ability for the high contrast and a narrative that's there. This person, I love the high contrast again, the simplicity of some of these designs, how impactful they are, the richness of color. Again, figurative work. You know, this is another thing that I'm noticing when I'm flipping through all these. What I respond to, 99% of the time has a figure in it. This person, simplicity of design that has a narrative, the epic journey motif, I'm calling it. Fantastic. I picked this individual out because I've always had trouble with structure of a figure. These figures feel like they have real mass to them. They're made out of steel or something. The ability to turn a form is amazing within this person's work. I think they may be influenced by J.C. Leyendecker, I'm not sure. Amazing. This person, I love the high contrast, the simplicity of design, the presence of narrative as well. There's some paintings here that are fantastic with narrative. Oh, Martina Fakova. If you don't know Martina Fakova, please check out her work. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I love the high contrast, the richness of color, the way Martina makes the subject look so monumental and luxurious. How she accomplishes this with paint, with digital paint, is definitely worth studying. This person, I love the simplicity of design here. I've taken some of their paintings and I've turned them to black and white, and it basically looks like all gray because they have used color to show the difference between the light and shadow area, but the values are so compressed. It's amazing. There's so much I can learn from the color work in a few of their paintings. Philip A. Ulrich, I put a star next to Philip because I've actually bought one of his courses on ArtStation. It was very inexpensive, of him just painting an epic landscape like this. Philip has this ability to show distance and, you know, just monumental epic scale. It's fantastic. I love these. It reminds me of Albert Bierstadt. If you don't know who Albert Bierstadt is, a landscape artist, please look him up and you'll see that both him and Philip are very similar. I'll call Philip the modern day Albert Bierstadt. Fantastic. This person, again, high contrast, lighting, rich brushwork, and you probably feel like that I've been repeating myself on a lot of these, and yes, I have, because I've been responding to their work and what I like. And that comes up in the next point. So what I did was I did a search on this Google document on what I repeated most throughout all of these pieces. And I ranked them by how many times I said them. And here's what I came up with. I repeated most high contrast, and then narrative, and then simplicity and simple. So simplicity of design or simple brushwork, and then rich colors. And now I can look at this and I've built for myself this idea of my own style. My style, what I enjoy, what I want to paint, what I want to look at, are paintings with high contrast that have a narrative, that have simple design and simple brushwork with rich colors. When I read through this, I get motivated again. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to the next painting I create, because now I have a focus, I have a direction of what I know I enjoy. I've defined it for myself. I've defined maybe the next 20 years of my art or more here. And through this process, you can do the same. And I think hopefully this can help you. But I've taken it further. I've taken it into a statement. And I say, my art, small paintings, that was another thing that's not involved in here, but I know I want to do small paintings, smaller paintings, because these larger paintings, like this one behind me, is just taking forever and it's killing me. So small paintings with high contrast lighting, with a figure in a scene that has a narrative with simple and effective design and brushwork with rich colors. And I've boldened the things that are most important. And this is what I want to focus on. This has brought me to an idea of what my style is and the next steps for my art. I've risen out of this kind of melancholy of 10 years of constant working and not having a cohesive body of work through a process that will get me to arrive at something that I think will help me moving forward. And this is the process, figuring out my style, really, what I enjoy. But yet I've taken it another step forward, another step, because part of my idea here is to help you guys, to help you through the same process. And I defined what I feel like, I call it the process for aligning my art career towards success. But really, it's a look back into my history. It's a look back at all artists' history, and to show the chronological journey that I feel that every artist takes, or every successful artist takes. And so I'm going to go through each step right now. And there's 6 of them here, and just know that I'm not going to unpack each one, because within all 6 is years and years worth of study and complexity and information and specifics. But this is getting into the broad idea, those simplicity of brushstrokes I'm trying to paint for you here. So the very first one is establish the habit of creating. So often artists, because I've done it, we get motivated by something and we work, and then 2 months go by, we haven't done anything after that because we were motivated on that one thing, we finished it, and then we're waiting for the next inspiration to come, right? We haven't generated a habit. We haven't, like Stephen Pressfield says, turned pro. We only do things when we're inspired to do things. I turned pro 10 years ago by saying I'm going to show up and do my art every single day, regardless if I'm inspired or not, because through the work is where inspiration comes. That's where the muse can show up. So establishing that habit, don't skip that. That's the most important. I feel like it should be consistent and daily. Consistency could mean 3 times a week for you, but I feel daily is most important. You read Atomic Habits by James Clear, Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg, and they'll both repeat the same thing, daily. If you skip a day, that's fine. You skip 2 days, it's habit suicide. It's in the book, really. So daily, but focused on longevity as well. That's probably the most important thing here. Not to go 13, 6, or 8, 12-hour days or whatever, to spend an hour or two a day. Or like me, I do a minimum every single day, 30 minutes, because it's something I've committed to for the rest of my life, just 30 minutes. So establishing a habit that's consistent and focused on longevity, something for the rest of your life. And then align my habits to support my art. What do I mean by this? So often we set up a habit of painting or creating or doing something else, but everything else in our life is aligned to derail us away from that. For example, let's say I want to have a successful art career, yet I'm staying up late all night playing video games and my sleep suffers and I don't have the focus that I need to actually create. The video games have to go if I want to commit to this, right? Let's say I want to do the same thing, but my health is suffering. I need to exercise more because I can be a better artist when I exercise and move more. So that's what I mean about aligning your life around your habits. I'm not saying that all you do is art every single day. Everybody has art and a life. What I'm saying is that longevity, if you can only spend an hour and a half a day on art because you have kids and a wife and a business to run and a real job, or another job, not a real job, then that's what you can do. But you try and align your art and your life around it so it facilitates practice. It facilitates your art habit. The next step in most artists' journey is developing skill while creating. And through that, you're experimenting, you are failing and learning. And that's probably the most important word, is failing. But failing. And so many artists don't want to fail, but this is how we learn. We experiment, we do something terrible, and then we learn. It's like Nicolaides says in his book, The Natural Way to Draw, you have to get through those 5,000 terrible drawings first. You know, and that's where learning happens. So develop skill while creating, experimenting, failing, and learning. We do to learn. You can't just read a book and think, oh, I know how to do this now. I really don't have to do it. Oh yeah, I know how to do that. Knowing how to do something and having the ability to do it are two completely different things. We do to learn. It's not just theory, it's practical application. We all have a wealth of knowledge. Search engines and the internet has made knowledge abundant everywhere. We don't need knowledge anymore. We need practical application. It's like they say, knowledge is useless. Applied knowledge is powerful. So this is what this is about. Number 3 is applying the knowledge, learning, develop skill while creating, experimenting, failing, and learning. And then number 4. Through number 3, basically, we discover what we love, or what I love, what I'm great at, and what the world needs or wants to buy. I always want to put in there wants to buy, because artists, I'm sorry, but no one needs paintings to survive. So discover what I love, what I'm great at, and what the world needs or wants to buy. And we discover what materials we love, what subject matter we love, what style we love, which I just really kind of discovered on my own today by doing this exercise, which is crazy. You would think I'd figure it out after 10 years. But we all have our own time. Number 5 is where I'm at right now. Limit all options down to what I love and focus. It's like 10 years ago, I entered a clearing, and within that clearing are all these paths, and they go off in all directions, maybe 50 different paths, right? And I looked down one path, and I walked down that path a little bit. I'm like, oh, wow, this is really cool. But let me look back at that other path. It looked kind of cool too. So I go back to the clearing, and I go down another path a little bit. And then, oh, that one was cool. Let me go back to the other one. So I've been doing that for years, for 10 years, trying out things. This is part of that experimentation and learning. But now it's time for me to focus. It's time for me to limit and pick a darn path and go down it, go deep into that path and figure out how far I can take it. Where does it lead? What mountain is on the other side? What payoff is there. That's what I need to find. So I'm going to limit my materials because I know what I love. Oil paint and digital, you know, on Krita. Limit my subject matter, figure, landscape. Limit my style. I'm going to limit my style to exactly what I said. High contrast work, has a narrative, simple design, simple brushwork, and rich colors. That's what I'm going to limit myself to. And then the very last part of this is creating a consistent body of work. And through these limitations, this is where I feel like I can create, and you can create, a consistent body of work. So I'll develop a creation process and repeat it consistently. My idea right now is to begin the design process of a painting digitally, work up the color key, the value structure, the design within digitally, and then transfer it to an oil painting from there. So I'll have a digital piece. I'll also have an oil painting piece, which sounds really great to me. And, you know, within both of those, there's also a process. You know, there's a certain way that I set up for digital. There's a certain way I set up for my oil paintings, you know, that kind of thing. The next is sharing my work. That's really important. Got to get it out there. No one knows or cares about it unless I share it. And then, really important, learn from each piece and improve upon the next. Too often, I would complete a piece of work or some art and then just go, okay, that one's done. What's the next thing? No, I need to look at it and say, okay, what's working, what's not working, and how can I improve on the next one? And then learn with just-in-time information, not just-in-case information. Learn what I need to know right now to complete this project. What do I mean by this? Just-in-time information versus just-in-case information. Normally what we do as artists, or I've done as artist, is I've collected all kinds of art books. I've attended all kinds of online courses, and I'm collecting this information just in case one day I want to use this in some way. Now I'm going to focus on a subject matter, a style, and go this way. And if I need some kind of skill at that point, I'm going to go acquire that knowledge, and it's going to be for painting. Oh, I need to work on, you know, high key color painting. I'll look at this guy, I'll look at that guy. I'll learn that, develop that painting, and then see how it's successful and try it on the next one. That's what I mean by just-in-time information versus just-in-case information. Okay, I'm sorry that this video took so long, but I felt like it was necessary for me to not worry about scripting it and just to get it out here and out to you as quick as possible so that you can learn from the process that I took, and hopefully it can help you. But I'm gonna go through it one more time, just, you know, a quick overview for this process that I think can help you align your art career, and look at these six items for maybe where you're at in your current career. You could be at the number one, still trying to establish a habit, and partly into number two, you know, aligning your life habits. So, or you could be all the way at the end and you're like, Chris, you're not telling me anything I already know, right? But number one, establishing the art habit, the habit of creating whatever your art is. Number two, align your life habits to help support what you love and your career, your art, your creation. Number three, develop skill while creating, experimenting, failing, and learning. Number four, discover what you love, what you're great at, and what the world needs or wants to buy. Number five, limit all options down to what you love and focus on that. And then number six, create a consistent body of work. Yeah. Thanks for listening. I appreciate everyone that has watched this video. And if you have any questions, please contact me. Use my website, the contact form on my website. Leave a comment here on YouTube. I respond to everyone personally, especially if you send me an email through the contact form. And my purpose here is to try and help you through the complexity of art career and art creation and habit building, everything that isn't, just the technical aspects of art. This is what I'm trying to do, is kind of help you on those other aspects that I think get left behind in a lot of ways. So with that, I appreciate you and thank you, and I will see you on the next video.